Hey everybody, it's divisional round time this week. Let's see how everybody's doing. We didn't do a show last week. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of Alex to do the show with me tonight, so you guys are stuck looking at this ugly mug. But it's okay. Only 4 games, 8 teams, going to fly through them. And if anybody's in the chat room or hits me up on Twitter in the meantime, we'll answer some questions as well. Otherwise, at MN Milano. Feel free to, again, hit me up whenever you have a question. I'll do my best to give my best answer. So let's dive in. First and foremost, we'll do the Saturday games. Let's see here. First game Saturday is Ravens at Patriots. Patriots favored by 7, over under of 48. As we have seen all week and have heard ever since the game last week. Everybody's loving Baltimore in this game, which is kind of interesting. I actually think that Brady might be one of, if not the best, play for quarterback this week. And I say that because of the match they got to Roethlisberger early and often, and really made that team one-dimensional. And that team can't focus as one, can't succeed as being one-dimensional. The Patriots are significantly different. We've seen them, they can succeed with, only one dimension. And Brady has made a successful receiver out of Brandon LaFell, which nobody really thought possible, especially me. He's done pretty well with Amendola. Gronk's been healthy for most of the year. He's healthy right now. They came out and said today, the Ravens came out and said today that most of their focus is going to be on Gronk. So I expect Amendola to have a nice day, LaFell to be a sneaky play in tournaments. But again, Brady, probably my number one quarterback play. He's in at 7,800 on DraftKings. I'm trying to load up his price here on FanDuel right now. So if you give me a second, I'll be able to tell you that as well. Let's see here. He's at 9,100 on FanDuel. I may be I'm in a Saturday only league, so very quickly let me change that. And so I can get all the prices. There we go. So he is the fourth highest, it looks like, on FanDuel. 1, 2, 3, 4. DraftKings, if I go to all games, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, 7,800 on DraftKings, 9,100 on FanDuel. You're getting a little bit more of a discount on DraftKings, but again, I could see him throwing short, dinky passes all over. Amendola, Edelman, LaFell. LaFell getting open deep, Amendola and Edelman, maybe even Vereen out of the backfield. Because Brady's going to, they don't shy away from keeping an extra guy inside and giving him time to throw. He doesn't need all that much time to throw, again, with those guys on those short routes. So, I expect a big day out of Edelman. So I'll be taking a Brady Edelman stack myself in at least one of my lineups this weekend. Like I said, with those, I kind of hit on the receivers there for New England. I love Edelman this week. I like LaFell as well. He's only $400 cheaper on DraftKings, 64 for Edelman, and 6,000 for LaFell. 7,300 for Edelman on FanDuel and 6,800 for LaFell on FanDuel. LaFell's going to catch more passes. Edelman's going to catch more passes. LaFell may get more yards. We'll probably see a touchdown. So really, it's up to you. You feel more confident in scoring a touchdown. I think I'm more confident in LaFell scoring the touchdown, but Edelman having a better day overall, especially with the PPR from in DraftKings full point PPR. Amendola, punt play, and a GPP only. I'm staying away from pretty much anybody else that's a receiver. You got Gronk at tight end, who is far and away the most expensive tight end of the weekend. I'm not all that convinced that he's going to be worth it, especially after seeing that they're going to dedicate most of their effort to stopping him, which obviously makes sense. Um, it definitely could see playing him in a cash game, but I'm probably going to fade away from him just because of what we read about how hard they're going to be on him, how much attention the Ravens are going to give him. Excuse me. So we'll flip over to Baltimore. Flacco, I'm avoiding him. All Ravens receivers, I'm going to avoid them because they're unpredictable. In a GPP, I could see Steve Smith getting open underneath, being okay underneath, but again, this goes all the way back to the middle of the season, right? Browner, Revis, Chung. They've got some a good secondary there in New England, especially this year. I'm going to avoid all receivers there for Baltimore. I'll probably hop on the Justin Forsett train because New England against the run isn't that great, but Eugene Monroe coming back for Baltimore's line, that's going to be a huge help to Forsett's game. You may see the Bernard Pierce, goal line thievery, but for the most part, I think Forsett has a decent game, and they find a way to get him. They have to control the clock as well, right? That's the recipe for beating the Patriots, is keeping Brady off the field, and that's how they're going to do it. So I see Forsett getting, probably 17 plus carries this weekend. And he should hit 100 yards as well. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Owen Daniels at tight end. Great matchup. New England doesn't guard the tight end very well, but he's up and down. He's been inconsistent pretty much all year. If I bring up his game logs, last week was 4 for 70. 2 weeks before that, 2 for 46, 1 for 7, 4 for 62. And a touchdown. He's up GPP only. I'm probably going to avoid him, and I'll tell you my pick for tight end a little bit later. Patriots defense, I think, is a little bit of a sneaky play. Ravens defense at 2,900, also a sneaky play because you're getting points for sacks, for turnovers, which, more than likely they're going to generate those sacks and turnovers. So at 2,900, I don't hate playing the Ravens D. I don't expect any pick sixes or anything like that, but I still don't hate on them, getting you some points. But that's about it for Baltimore, New England. Hopping over to Carolina, Seattle. I will say one thing: I'm not playing any Panthers. No Panthers. Not going to talk about them. Going into Seattle against that defense that's been number one, in giving up, 39 points in the past 6 weeks total. Forget about it. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to play them. Russell Wilson, though, on Seattle, I could see him as a nice GPP play. 7,800 on DraftKings. He is 8,200 on FanDuel. Big thing to look at here is the Panthers' defensive tackle Star Lotulelei is injured, out for the game. That helps out Russell Wilson. It helps out Marshawn Lynch. I think Marshawn Lynch is a very nice play now because of that. He wasn't before, but now with that literal and figurative hole in the middle of that Carolina line, I definitely think that Lynch gets good yards up the middle. He beasts up the middle as it is, so I like it. I think it helps Russell Wilson out in that they'll be able to dedicate only one guy to that position. They won't have to double up, a star Lotulelei. Instead, they'll be able to put one lineman on him and dedicate linemen elsewhere, allowing Wilson to get a little bit more time in the pocket. And as we've seen, if he needs it, Wilson can scramble. So you'll always get some rushing yards from him as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes for another 40 or 50 yards rushing here. Again, receivers, I'm staying away from Carolina. I like my punt play here is probably Paul Richardson, 3,200 on DraftKings, and trying to find him on FanDuel, 5,100 on FanDuel. So very cheap in both sides. especially when you're looking at his productivity. So for the past couple of weeks, he's been solid, right? He had against San Francisco 3 for 30 and a touchdown. Arizona 5 for 52. St. Louis 5 for 60. So he's had double digits each of the past 3 weeks at a bare minimum salary. Now he's at 3,200 again, 5,100 in FanDuel. It's super cheap. They're going to run with Marshawn. That's going to make Carolina stack the box, and especially to make up for again the absence of Lotulelei, they're going to have to keep somebody in the box. Once they do that, it frees up the outside and those receivers to just run around and roam around. And Richardson's quick, big. I like him a lot this week again to continue what he's doing, right? He's not going to put up an 8 for 120 and a touchdown or a 12 for 180 and a touchdown like an ODB, right? But he's going to be okay and get you some good points. At tight end, we've got Greg Olsen, who you don't want to stay away from him normally. He gets you solid consistency for the most part, except for maybe the last couple weeks of the season there, as Carolina focused on their running game. But again, now they're not going to be able to focus on the running game. GPP only, 5,100. I'm not spending that for Greg Olsen. Again, Seattle's defense has been unstoppable the past several weeks, past 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks, I think. Just avoid Olsen. Luke Wilson, huge GPP. We saw what he did against Arizona, but Arizona stinks against the tight end, so I'm not recommending Luke Wilson for anybody. Moving on to Sunday's games. Start with Dallas and Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, he's got the calf injury, and it's super cold weather. So, it's tough to judge him, right? You want to say he's going to be able to throw all over Dallas, but do I have the utmost confidence in that? Not really. I'll probably fade him in my 50-50s, but not in my GPPs, just because I'm thinking Green Bay is going to try and do what they did last 2 weeks ago against Detroit, and that's establish the run game early. If they can do that, that puts Eddie Lacy at 7,200 at great value. We saw them again put up 100 yards against Detroit, the first team all season to do that on the ground, and we could see him doing it again against Dallas, who doesn't have a defensive line like Detroit did. So I like Lacy this game. I'll fade Rodgers just because he could get you 2 touchdowns in the end zone or in the red zone. He could get you maybe a big touchdown to Jordy Nelson, but to get you something like 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns, I just don't think it's happening. I think they're going to rely on the run game a bit more. And again, in order to try and keep Romo and DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant off the field. In saying that, I'll flip over to Romo here. I like him a little bit, probably again GPPs. Again, my favorite for quarterback for 50-50s is going to be Brady this weekend, but Romo I like a little bit. The weather really doesn't make me like him a lot for GPPs. I'll probably, instead of spending the 7,600 on him, spend up to the 7,800 to get Brady, or the all the way up to the 8,700 to get Luck. But I'm going to probably fade Romo. I don't like him all that much with that weather, with the cold. I don't think he's going to be able to sling it like he did last week. But I do love DeMarco Murray. Green Bay has not been great against the run this season. They've been okay, especially once they switched Clay Matthews to inside linebacker. They've been better, but still not great. And that they haven't faced an offensive line like Dallas this year. So I definitely see DeMarco getting 100 yards on Sunday, probably getting into the end zone once at least. So that $8,400 price tag on DraftKings, $8,900 price tag on FanDuel, he's probably worth it this week. As much as I don't want to say it, he's probably worth it. So go ahead, pay up for him, and try to get your value with someone like in the next game, Boom Herron. Wide receiver this game, Dez. he's going to be Dez. He's going to get his looks. Um, Green Bay's been susceptible to some big receivers. But again, I think this is going to be a case of more of Romo being inaccurate than Dez being covered well. So I don't think Dez is going to be the number one play this weekend. I like Jordy a bit, but I do like Cobb over Jordy this week. $1,000 cheaper on DraftKings and $400 cheaper on FanDuel. So not that much different on FanDuel, but can get you an extra $1,000 on DraftKings to go spend up at another position or even at your second receiver. I think Cobb's going to be able to. They line up. They both line up all over the place, but I think a lot of the defensive focus is going to be on Jordy because, as we've seen, Jordy shutting down Jordy really hurts. That offense. Even though Cobb can step right in. Devontae Adams stepped in when New England came in and shut down both Nelson and Cobb. Rodgers still has weapons, but the offense is just infinitely better if they can get Jordy going. So if Dallas chooses to focus on Jordy, then you're going to see Cobb have a decent game. You'll see Adams get his looks. You'll see Richard Rodgers potentially getting looks. Andrew Corliss. I'm not recommending any Green Bay tight ends just because it's sporadic, right? If you're going to take one tight end, I'd probably take Richard Rodgers, but it's sporadic as to who gets the touchdown there. If it's a tight end getting the touchdown, so that's really my lack of advice there. But I do like Jason Witten this week. He's probably my number one tight end this week. 4,800. So again, not spending up the 2,000 and change to get Gronk there, but I like Jason Witten. Green Bay usually not good against the tight end, despite their 14th ranking here in DraftKings. I like Witten. He's been getting good looks over the past few weeks. His game logs over the past 3 weeks. Let's go 4 weeks. 5 for 63 last week, 4 for 49 the week before, 7 for 90 and a touchdown, 7 for 69. So he's been on Romo's radar quite a bit these past couple of weeks, and I think he'll continue to do that since again with that weather, Romo and that icy field, Romo's going to have to throw short, I think, more often than we've seen in the past. So Witten could be in for another 6 or 7 catch game. On defense, don't really like either defense all that much. Again, because of the power of both offenses, so I'll probably fade away from both of them. Last game of the slate, Colts traveling to Denver. Andrew Luck is going to be Andrew Luck. He's going to get his passes in. The team's going to go down. He's going to have to throw to keep up. He's going to be worth every penny of that 8,700 probably. But, as we saw last week, they're willing to score by other means. Boom Herron getting the carry. Defense can come through, or the offense can stall and they have to settle for field goals. The offense has not been all that great the past few weeks, so Luck will get you those yards, but I'm skeptical that he'll get you the touchdowns that he has in the past. Same with Peyton. He's relied on C.J. Anderson quite a bit second half of the season, so I'm going to fade him as well. Luck, GPP. Peyton, I'll probably fade completely. C.J. Anderson, I'll be all over. We saw Jeremy Hill had a nice game last week before he got injured. C.J. Anderson has just been pretty much unstoppable in terms of getting into the end zone. He's got 7 touchdowns over the past 4 weeks. I mean, that's good enough for me. I will take him against one of the worst rush Ds in the league and assume that he gets me 100 yards and a touchdown. Worth every penny of that 7,600 on DraftKings and 8,700 on FanDuel. Boom Herron, he's not going to repeat what he did last week, right? He had 29 points on DraftKings last week. It all came from he had 10 catches. I could see him getting another 5 or 6 this week, but he's not going to get 10 catches again. The Colts just won't be able to Andrew Luck won't be able to dump the ball off and be safe in that manner again, right? He kept dumping the ball off, and it was really to just be safe with the ball and keep moving the ball forward, keep the clock rolling. He's going to have to take risks this week, and that means, going deeper, trying to hit TY, trying to hit Moncrief. I just don't see, Boom repeating with 10 catches and another trip to the end zone. T.Y. Hilton is almost matchup proof at this point. I hesitate to say that because he is going up against Aqib Talib, but he is going to get his looks, right? He's going to get those targets. I'll fade him because of that matchup. Demarius is matchup proof in my eyes, so I'd pay up for him if I have the money in a 50-50. Emmanuel Sanders GPP, Welker I'll fade, Moncrief GPP. We saw what he did last week. He got into the end zone, a nice crossing route, beautiful throw by Luck. Not too sure what we'll see, if we'll see anything from him this week, but GPP only at 3,600 allows you to go elsewhere. Again, Luck is going to have to throw. They're going to be behind, and Moncrief is a speed guy. He'll get deep, so you'll probably get maybe a couple of catches, maybe only 2 to 4 catches, but you could see 60 yards. So he could hit value with those types of stats. Julius Thomas is interesting this week, only because Peyton hasn't looked his way in forever. GPP only for me probably. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 games. In the past 4 games, he's had 5 catches. Against Oakland, he didn't play, right? He was suited up but didn't play at all. I'm not going to touch him. Someone's going to have the stones to play him in a GPP, and he'll probably have a good game just because I'm not playing him. But I'd rather go to Fleener for 4,600 on DraftKings. He's $700 cheaper than Thomas. He's 5,400 on FanDuel, $100 cheaper than Thomas. I'd go for him because, again, Luck's going to have to throw. Denver's not all that. Neither team is all that great against the tight end, so they're not bad matchups regardless. It's just Thomas has been inconsistent, but he could be healthy now, right? So, assuming that that ankle is finally 100% back, or even 85% back to normal, Thomas might be a nice GPP, just because he does have that lower ceiling, right? Fleener, I think. Or has the lower floor, sorry. Fleener, I think, has the higher floor actually here because he will run those deeper routes. He's, faster and bigger than a lot of the linebackers out there. So Luck will probably look his way on intermediate routes to deep routes to and potentially in the end zone as well. We see him or Dwayne Allen kind of rotate in terms of who gets those red zone looks. But I like Fleener to get it this week because, again, he's going to have to throw. Dwayne Allen not as big and quick as Fleener, and Fleener's really picked it up once Dwayne Allen had that injury. Luck and Fleener kind of went back, it seemed, to their college days to their consistent hooking up, which is good. So I like Fleener a lot. I like him over Allen for sure. Allen is $1,100 cheaper on DraftKings, so he may seem like a better play, but again, I think Fleener gets more of those looks because they're going to be trying to move the ball further and further instead of just trying to dump it off in a safe manner like they did last week. So that is it for my takes on the divisional rounds this week. Again, at Emin Milano, if you guys want to hit me up on Twitter. Good luck this week. Hope you guys did well last week, and you guys had a great holiday. Good luck in the new year, and we'll catch you guys next time.